What's up everybody? Welcome back to Unparalleled Universe for another throwback action figure review. And today we're taking a look at the Marvel Universe cable by Hasbro. And this one here is the version that comes with Baby Hope. At the time, I remember this figure was very hard to find. And to be honest with you, I can't remember where I found this guy. I want to say that I found it in store or possibly at a convention, but if I bought it at a convention, it might have been overpriced, so I don't think I would have bought any Marvel Universe figure over retail price because I really wasn't that into the line. Like, it was cool, but you know, like I've mentioned before, I had conflicting feelings about it because I felt like they were trying to get rid of Marvel Legends and replace it with Marvel Universe. They maintained that that wasn't the case, but I don't believe them because it felt very different. Marvel Legends was on the back burner. Marvel Universe was pushed up to the front. You'd go to the conventions. All they would talk about was Marvel Universe, Marvel Universe, Marvel Universe, and they were really into it. And when the line first started, there was a lot of passion behind the line. So Cable, I think, is one of the best Marvel Universe figures they ever made, and that's why I still have it. When I bought this figure, I threw it in a bin, and then I don't know why I didn't open it right away. Maybe I thought, oh, it's the rare one, maybe I shouldn't open it, maybe I should find the easier one to get and open that one, and then I just never did because, like I said, you know, I was only halfway into this line. But anyways, it's been in a bin. Every couple years I go through my storage and I'm looking at figures that are tucked away, and I see this guy and I go, oh yeah, that's a dope figure, I need to open that up. Then I throw it back in the bin, and then I forget about it for a couple years. And now finally I have a good excuse to open it, so here we are. I haven't handled this figure, and before I even handle it, I'm going to tell you right now, I could guarantee you that I'm going to like this figure, and I'm going to walk away from this throwback review saying that it's probably the best Marvel Universe figure. I don't even have to touch it or anything to know that. Just look at how badass he is. But I love the artwork that we have up here of Cable. It looks really cool. I like the packaging of the old Marvel Universe figures. It feels very old school, and I know, like, at this point these figures are old, but at the time it even felt kind of retro inspired, so I thought that was dope. It's not collector friendly, so once you open it up, it's garbage. And you know, that's going to be tough for me because even though I love opening figures and playing with them all the time, this one here, I haven't been able to get myself to do it, you know, but here we are. This is kind of a unique situation. This says that it's series 3, number 7. So like I said, it was pretty early in the line. And look at some other badass figures they had here. I think I might have that Wolverine somewhere. And then look at this big old nice bio right here. I'm not going to read the whole thing or anything like that, but look how much information is on here compared to what we see on the Marvel Legends figures nowadays. And then we get a shot of the figure itself that looks really cool, but this isn't the actual figure. It looks like it's an early kind of digital rendering or like a digital mock-up of the figure or something, because it does look a little different from the actual figure. Yeah, the face sculpt doesn't look quite the same. But okay, so that's it for the packaging, and we're going to go ahead and open this up and check it out. Let's see if it lives up to the hype. All right, so Nathan, I owe you my deepest and most sincere apologies for keeping you in that plastic prison for as long as I did. You deserve to be free. This thing is so incredibly badass. I was not expecting to like it as much as I do. You heard me before. I was already hyped up about it, but once I opened it, I was like, holy shit, man. If I would have got this figure, like, if I would have got this figure back in the day and opened it, I might have been okay with them canceling Legends. I hate to say that, and I mean, I might just be hyped up because it's such a dope figure, but I bet you if I would have opened this back then, I'm like, well, you know, if they keep doing it like this, it might be all right. I love Legends still, but this is pretty damn good. This is such a nice figure with so many cool accessories. There's so many things going on with this figure that they don't even do with Marvel Legends now, and man, I just don't know what it is. I feel like even though Hasbro's doing a great job with Marvel Legends, I feel like they don't put the passion into it that they do with some other lines, even with other Marvel lines. So, and then even with other 6-inch lines, it just doesn't like make a lot of sense. It's really strange. Some of the stuff that's going on here that like they aren't doing on Marvel Legends, which really surprised me, was how nice the gun fits into the holster. Even now we get some Marvel Legends figures that are gun holding figures, but then you know, the guns are molded into the holsters. And then the other thing is the gun could actually be pegged onto the back with no problem at all. And then he has a bunch of accessories. He has like the option to have Baby Hope on his chest or not, which is something that I don't think they would do these days. I bet you if they give us a Cable, it'll just be like stuck with Baby Hope or without Baby Hope, and you know, that would be your only option. You couldn't like switch it around like you can here, but unless it was like a deluxe figure or something. But and another thing, you could pretty much put all of his accessories onto his body except for the interchangeable chest plate. Aside from that, you could fit everything on him. His big gun, his little gun, and his spear. He could hold that. So that's awesome. Man, look at that thing. That is just a good looking figure. I really hope that eventually Hasbro gets to making a cable exactly like this in 6-inch form. Maybe just add double jointed elbows and like G.I. Joe style articulation on the torso or something, and you're good to go. But even if they just blew this up exactly like it is, it would be a badass figure. It would probably like be in my top 10 for the year for sure, because, you know, I always love Cable action figures, and I always like this look for Cable. I really loved that run of Cable when he had Baby Hope after she was born and he was jumping through the future and Bishop was chasing him around. That was a good run of Cable. I liked it. I don't know if it was very popular, but I remember I really enjoyed it. I like Bishop as a bad guy, and I like Cable as like a father figure, the lone wolf and the cub kind of thing. So really cool stuff. And yeah, this figure does a good job of capturing that. But let's go ahead and get off Cable's nuts for a second, and let's take a close look at all the details on him. And Cable does have a really nice looking head sculpt. It definitely has a facial expression that Cable would be making, so that's dope. I think the glowing robotic eye looks really nice. You could see that in there. And then the opposite eye looks good with the scars and everything. They did go a little heavy on the wash on the skin tone, but you know, I think it looks fine. It's one of those things where you really don't notice how heavy it is unless you're zoomed in on camera. But, you know, from afar, or when you're holding it in your hands or having it on the shelf or whatever, it looks perfectly fine. And that was something they did on a lot of the Marvel Universe figures. It seemed like a lot of the figures that had a lot of natural looking skin, they kind of had like a heavy wash on them just to add some detail, you know, and sometimes it worked out good, sometimes it didn't. I think for Cable, it's a little heavy, but for the most part, I think it looks pretty good. And then moving on to Baby Hope right here, I think Baby Hope is okay. I mean, I love the idea of including this little piece here, but I don't know if the little baby itself actually looks that good. I think the little spiral or the little lock of hair on her head looks funny. And I feel like the details on the little baby itself are kind of lacking. And I kind of wish that maybe she had like a shirt on and maybe just a different situation for her hair. She just kind of looks funny right there. But you know what? I love the idea of including this little piece. I kind of wish that maybe she came with something else so you could take off the little metal piece and maybe have her like wrapped up in a blanket. That's easy enough just to do myself. But you know, like I said, I love the idea of this. I'm just not totally sure about the execution on the baby itself. Right here on the X logo, we have a little scratch, but let's go ahead and take this off so I could show you what he looks like with the non-Hope little front piece. So there we go. And I definitely like the look of this overall better. I'll probably keep this on him and then wrap her up in something and then have him like holding her. But yeah, you know, like I said, I love the idea of this little accessory. I just think it maybe could have been done a little bit better. I understand that it's hard in such a small scale though, so you know, not gonna cry too much about it. But all this looks really good. I like all the straps. There's some coloring on the straps and stuff. Look at that. I mean, on the most recent Winter Soldier figure, he came with like pouches and stuff, and there's not as much like details as we see on this figure here. So that's crazy, man. The X logo looks really good on this one. And then look at all this over here. On the shoulder pad, we got a bunch of different browns and stuff in there going on. Got some paint detail on the little metal piece. And there is a peg so that he could actually stick his gun on there. So that's cool. And while we have the gun here, let's take a look at this. This looks nice. Very futuristic and feels very Cable-like, so that's dope. Man, that looks really good actually. And I love that you could just peg it onto the back. The peg hole is actually on the other side here. So there you go. You just stick that right on there. And it has no problem like staying in. It's not going to fall out or anything. So that's good stuff there. And then underneath the straps, he just has like a blue shirt with a red line on it. And the red line is really sharp and clean. Looks nice. And then over here on the bicep, we have a little bit of red just to separate where his skin and the shirt would be. So that's cool. And down here in the hands are a different color. It's not like he has like sculpted gloves or anything like that. They just painted part of the hand to make it look like it, but it works perfectly fine. And then on this side, we have his iconic robotic arm. It has like a dark gray color with some black like washing work going on in there. We've got the lines. The hand looks like it's just I was going to say it looks like it's just a repainted hand, but if you look at the fingers, you could see some lines on there. So that's cool. And then checking out the pouches on his waist, we have some yellow pouches. We have the X logo on the front. The pouches run down here to the little leg holster. And look at that. The gun fits in there really nicely. You don't have to worry about it falling out. And then taking a look at this gun too. This thing looks really dope. Not as much detail as the bigger gun, but it still looks fine. And like I said, it fits right in there with no problem at all. One issue I have with this is when you're moving the figure around, this thing tends to kind of get like messed up and moved around really easily. It's one of those things where I might want to glue that down, as well as the belt here at the waist. I might have to do that. And then moving down here, we got a little bit of paint work on the legs. It's not as clean as on the upper body, but it's fine. And I really like what they did here because you know, we have the lower leg swivel there, but it's right under this little boot strap thing. So when you move his leg around, it doesn't look awkward at all. And then even with the knee pad, you could still do stuff and it looks good, you know. So yeah. And the yellow on the boots match the pouches and stuff. So yeah, man, in general, this is a really nice looking figure. The sculpting work is really good on it. The paint work, the details, all the little added pieces that they put onto the base figure really make it nice. So yeah, they did a great job with the way this figure looks. And as for accessories, we already took a look at the two guns that he comes with, but he does have a small handgun that he has no problem holding at all. And then he has a bigger, crazy cable kind of gun, which he could also hold without any issue. So that's good. And aside from those two weapons, he does come with a spear that looks really, really cool. And the spear looks nice. It kind of has like a metallic kind of look, but not really, maybe just slightly metallic. And then some like black dry brushing on there maybe. But yeah, it looks really nice. The sculpting work on it is cool. And I really like the way the actual spear itself looks. So that's nice. And then aside from that, he does come with a little Marvel Universe stand. And you can see that it just says Marvel, Cable, and number 7. Alright, so luckily it turns out that I have a couple of X-Men Marvel Universe figures that I did not realize I had. So for some size comparisons, we have Cable alongside the Marvel Universe Colossus and the Marvel Universe Wolverine. And I'm not 100% sure if each one of these figures came from the actual Marvel Universe line, because at the time there was a couple of different movie lines and things like that going on. So this Wolverine could have come from like the Wolverine Origins movie line. Same thing with this Colossus. I kind of feel like he came out in the Wolverine's Origins line for some reason. I could be wrong. They could both be Marvel Universe proper, or however you want to say it, but I'm not too sure. Anyways, this Colossus is awesome. He's another really good looking figure, and I think he looks pretty good next to Cable. But this Wolverine figure reminds me why I wasn't really into this line, because that figure is not convincing, you know. Like when you see stuff like that, it kind of, I don't want to say it cancels out how cool Cable is as far as the line goes, but it's kind of the potential for how bad it could go, you know. Like this Wolverine figure is not very good. And that's one thing I kind of remember about this line, that like for every 5 or 6 Wolverine quality figures, there was maybe one Cable or Colossus, you know. So they weren't able to stay very consistent with the high points, you know. Stuff like Colossus, Beta Ray Bill, Cable, those are all really amazing figures, but then they were surrounded by a bunch of not so amazing figures. Ooh, okay, here we go. We got Juggernaut and Namor, and both of these figures are really nice too. So, you know, Wolverine kind of took the wind out of my sails for the Marvel Universe stuff for a second there, but now we're back at it because Juggernaut is awesome, and so is this Namor. I will say that Juggernaut does look a little small next to Cable, but I just love the proportions on this thing. It's a really cool figure, and Namor's really good too, but I only busted him out so you could see what I was talking about when it comes to the skin. You could see like in his abs here, there's like a heavy wash, and it kind of looks a little crazy on him, but still, I like that figure a lot. And yeah, next up we have Cable alongside War Machine from the Iron Man 2 line, and then we also have the Ultimate World War II Captain America. But yeah, this War Machine is a really nice looking figure. I would love to see them blow that up for 6-inch. I completely forgot about this Captain America. That's a really nice figure too, and I would love to review him, but I don't think I have all his accessories, so I'm gonna have to look around, see if I can find those. But I might review this War Machine though, because that's a really dope figure and it looks like he's complete. And then next up we have Cable alongside one of the Spiro Toys Animal Kingdom figures and the Jazz Wars 3 3/4 inch Fortnite Omega. And now that I've opened this Cable, I kind of want to army build a couple of these Omega figures, because I think that would make for a really dope shot to have Cable fighting a bunch of those guys. I think that'd be awesome. So if I could find some more of those on clearance, I might have to do that. And for the final and most important size comparison, here we have Cable alongside the Marvel Legends Pizza Spider-Man and Marvel Legends Bucky Cat. So the articulation on Cable is actually really good. I've been messing around with this figure for a couple of hours, and I'm really surprised by how posable he is, because he doesn't really have like more points of articulation than your average Marvel Universe figure, but for whatever reason everything works a lot better and you could just do a lot with him. So I was pretty surprised by that. But let's go ahead and get into it. First off, his head is on a ball joint with a hinge, so it does go side to side. And let's see, we've got a little bit of tilt, but not very much. Just slightly, you know, but that's cool. And he could look up to about right there because of that hinge, and then he could look down to about right there. So I feel like maybe the sculpt is preventing his head from coming down a little bit more. Oh, there we go. So he could look all the way down. I wonder if it works kind of going the other way too. Let's see what we have going on. Oh, it looks like maybe it doesn't travel back as far as it does on the front. Yeah, it doesn't. So it truly could only go up to right there. So, you know, that's fine. And then the torso has really nice range. He's got like just a diaphragm cut and then a waist swivel, but it's pretty nice. Check out how much you could crunch forward. You could go back to about right there, but he wants to spring forward because of his harness, but it could go back to right there. And then do we have some side to side? A little bit of side to side. And then he could twist right there at the torso. And then he could also twist at the waist. So pretty good movement at the torso. And then for the arms, he does have ball jointed shoulders. They go all the way around. They could come out to the side, this far up. None of his straps hinder the articulation of the arms at all, so that's good. And then he has the upper bicep swivel. Single jointed elbows. I don't think they ever got to double jointed elbows on the Marvel Universe figures. I could be wrong, but I think for the most part, a lot of the Marvel Universe figures had single jointed elbows. But they get, let's see, did they get a little bit more than 90? No, it's pretty much just 90, so that's cool. And then we have a swivel at the wrist, but no hinge. So that's another thing that Marvel Universe figures lacked. Some of them anyways. I'm not sure if they started putting it into some of the later figures. I don't think so. And then for the legs, they could come out to the side to about right there, but they kind of want to spring back. So that's kind of goofy. And he could kick forward a really good amount. Check that out. Bam! He could bring his leg back only to about right there. And then we have a upper thigh swivel, a double jointed knee. Double jointed knees are nice. And then like I mentioned before, he does have a boot swivel, which is awesome because it's under the strap here, so it doesn't look awkward or anything at all. Like if you're putting them into like running poses or whatever you need to do with that, it'll all look natural because the way they did it. And then for the feet, we have rocking ankles, which are great. And then he could push his foot forward to right there. And then you could bring it up to right there. So yeah, like I said, good articulation on Cable. You could pretty much do anything that you'd want Cable to do. I'm not sure these figures would benefit from double jointed elbows. They're just too small, you know. I don't know if it matters. You could do everything that you need to with somebody like Cable. I'm sure, you know, someone like Spider-Man would definitely benefit from double jointed elbows, but I think for most of the characters that they did, I think what we have going on is perfectly okay. And same thing with the hinge on the wrist, you know. You could kind of get away with things because, you know, they're smaller, so you can't do everything that the bigger figures could do. You just can't fit stuff in there, you know. But yeah, anyways, the articulation is really nice on this guy, so I'm happy that everything is as functional as it is. So really good stuff. Alright, so I'm sure that it goes without saying, but oh my god, this is a really great figure. And it's kind of unfortunate for the Marvel Universe line that figures like Cable and Beta Ray Bill were kind of the exception and not the standard, because if every figure was as good as this Cable figure in the Marvel Universe line, I would have been all in. You know, I would have jumped right in. I don't think that I would have wanted to lose Legends to do that, but if that's what Hasbro was kind of making happen and I couldn't do anything about it, you know, it would have been easier to accept if all the figures were the quality of Beta Ray Bill and Cable. But as it is, that's not really the case. I think about 80% of the figures were not very good. And then I'd say maybe like 15% were like pretty good, but you know, nothing mind-blowing, but acceptable, and I was into them. And then probably like 5% were figures like Better Ray Bill and Cable, which I thought were badass. But yeah, if they would have been all like those two figures, I would have been all in. It would have sucked to lose Legends, and I would have cried about it at every convention, you know. But I think that would have been a situation that would have been a little bit easier to handle, you know what I mean? But anyways, as far as this Cable goes, I think I might say that it's probably my favorite Cable figure. I think it does its job better than any other Cable figure that's out there. I will say that I do love the Cable from the Sasquatch Build-A-Figure wave. That one does a really good job of capturing a 90s Cable, and he might be number 2 on my list. Actually, these two might be tied for number 1. I think they're both really great figures, and they do their job incredibly well. This Marvel Legends one is pretty cool too, but it's a specific look that I'm not really into. I don't care about it as much as I care about these two versions. And then the Mezco ones are really good too, but they're kind of like a different league, you know. They're specialty figures with light up features and soft goods, and I'm not going to sit here and act like a 3 3/4 inch Marvel Universe figure is better than a Mezco figure, but I will say I do feel like this figure does its job a little bit better than those ones do, because one of them kind of takes liberties and then one of them's too small. So as much as I love those figures, there's issues. Yeah, man, it's crazy. It's crazy how cool this figure is and what a good job it does at like capturing this version of Cable. It's a really, really good figure, and even though I knew that I was going to be into it, I'm really, really surprised by how much I'm into it, because holy shit, man, they just killed it. It's an incredible figure. Well, I don't know what else to say, really. I love this Sasquatch Wave one too, man. I don't know what else they could have done better though. Maybe a different upper body or something. I'm not sure. It's almost there, but it just kind of feels a little bit off. I think it just needs a little bit, maybe more pouches, more guns. I think that would have been the solution. But anyways, I think that's it. Thank you so much for watching. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and all that good stuff. And be sure to keep an eye on my channel, because I'm doing some different kind of things, trying different types of videos, doing all kinds of cool stuff. Make sure to check out my collaboration video I did with Robo from the Fwoosh, where we hang out and talk about old cartoons and toys that we would like to see from those cartoon lines. It's kind of like a little mini podcast that we're doing called Toys, Toons, and Two Beards. I did post a mini clip of it on my channel a couple days ago, so be sure to check that out. That is incredibly fun. Robo's such a cool dude, and that's just, man, it's such an honor to be doing something like that with him. So it's really, really dope. And then I'm going to try to do some more live stuff. I'm kind of thinking of trying to do live reviews. I think that would be fun. I just want to be able to get my camera to the quality that I want to do something like that. So we'll see. But anyways, a bunch of fun stuff, a bunch of experiments, and all kinds of crazy shit. So thank you so much. Have a wonderful day. Peace.